Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Koehler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Koehler.
Well, hi, team. I'm Fitz Koehler, your incredibly bossy fitness pro from fitzness.com. And welcome to the Fitzness Show. Today, we got a big show filled with Q's and A's. That's right. You provide the Q's, I provide the A's, because I really like answering your questions, and you sent me great ones this week. And for that, I am forever grateful. If you have not done so yet, you ridiculous person, order You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. Now, listen, it boggles my mind how many people come up who know me, who know I have this resource available and say, Fitz, I need to lose weight. What do I do? I mean, here's the deal. I like selling books. I like selling books for $25 a book. It's not such a big deal to me. But the impact I can make on your life is dramatic. There are 400 freaking pages filled with content. And you know what? It's the yous that finally get the book and they reach out and say, oh my God, thank you so much for making it so clear and for being so pointed. And I lost 4 pounds in the first week and I'm down 12 in the first month or whatever. I can help you. This is why I exist. If I'm not helping you, I have no purpose for being here. This is the truth. I am here for you. And this, I wrote it for you. I worked really hard to get this into your head. So if you think fitness is confusing at all, if you think there's no way you could lose weight, if you think it's just no fun, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I can simplify it. I can make it attainable for you, and I can make it fun. So order this book. Of course, you can go to Amazon. However, if you order it through me at fitzness.com, I sign every book. I put the little Fitzy sticker in it, and I promise I will help you get where you want to go physically and mentally. So there's that. Also, I love that you like the Fitzness Show. I like that you're subscribing. If you haven't done so yet, do it. But also, wherever you listen, click download. That way, if you're trapped in an elevator with no Wi-Fi, no cell phone reception, I can be in there with you. I have almost 300 episodes now. And so you could just go back. You can make such good use of that trapped in the elevator time. Also, that's one of my biggest nightmares. If you don't know this, I'm claustrophobic. That's fun. My big brother, 9 years older, big, strong, big brother, used to wrap my sister and I up in a Mexican blanket, shove us in the corner of the couch, and sit on us. And so I remember being in there with that Mexican blanket on my face, and my sister screaming. And because of that, no tight spaces for Fitz Koehler. So I actually have a very strict policy. I will not be in an elevator with more people than I am willing to be trapped in an elevator with. So I'll be on an elevator, and if too many people start coming on, I just get off, wait for the next, or I take the stairs. Happy to do it. Happy, because forbid an elevator with too many people gets stuck on the whatever floor, I will lose my marbles, and I don't like to lose my marbles. I'm kind of type A. If you haven't noticed, I'm type A about certain things, and then I'm totally willy-nilly. Who gives a rat's you know what about almost everything else? But yeah, elevator time, not a lot of fun for me. So there's a bunch of things I want to talk to you about. First of all, this is sports a palooza. I'm so happy this week. Now, we have the NBA finals with the Knicks and the Spurs, and we have the NHL finals with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I don't actually have a skin in those games. I traditionally only watch sports when I care. And it doesn't take much to make me care, right? Maybe it's a Gator game. Any sort of Gator sport is my sport. I love Gator sports. I'm happy to root for Florida teams. I will always root for my country, so USA. And then sometimes I have a Gator that's playing for a pro team, or there's just someone I think is cool. And so anyways, I don't have any skin in any of the games for NBA or NHL, but I still love it. I love that our country, most of us are focused on sports, and it's healthy. It's just good for us. I think it's great for adrenaline and excitement and the camaraderie. You know, the people that are wearing the jersey of your favorite team, when you see them on the street, you connect with them, even though you don't know each other. I just love, love, love what sports brings to our our culture, our communities. And so for that, I say go Knicks and Spurs and Hurricanes and Golden Knights. And I am totally digging Taylor Swift being at the Knicks games. Now, hear me out. I know if you hate her, there's something wrong with you because hate should be reserved for cancer and for the Taliban or, the folks blowing people up. Like, that's what you hate. You don't hate a singer because you don't like her song or you think she's cheesy or whatever. But I think it's very cute that she went with her fiance. She's always said, I'm not a sports girl. I don't understand sports. I'm not good at sports. And he says, come along. And I think they're adorable. They're having fun. She's being a great partner to him. And then last night, game 4, I think, for the NBA finals, she went without him with her girlfriends and looked like she had a damn good time. And what that brings is more women into sports, especially those young girls who really look up to her. So I dig it. I really like seeing anybody have fun with sports and anyone who makes sports more popular, more prominent, whether it's football or basketball or lacrosse or remember that breakdancing chick from Australia in the Olympics? She was so bad. And remember, we all knew her name at the time. I can't remember her name, but we were talking about breakdancing. We were talking about the Olympics. It inspired so many of us to, resurrect our old breakdancing moves or try some new ones. It's great. It's great for all of us. So hooray for that. And of course, I'm not forgetting that this weekend, actually, I think today, World Cup, FIFA World Cup Championship, the men's tournament here in the United States, which is awesome, which is bringing so many wonderful people to the U.S. to cheer. And I love it. I love it. The clash of the cultures. And we say clash, but it's uniting, right? I mean, even if you don't like soccer, how many people hate soccer? And again, hate, that's a really strong word. How many people detest soccer? They think it's the most boring sport on earth. I think watching golf is pretty freaking boring. And soccer's been compared to that. I grew up playing soccer from 5 to probably 17. I played on soccer teams. So I love the sport. Yes, it's often 1-0, and it's really fun to see a lot of points scored. So basketball trumps soccer or football. We're going to call it football in the points competition. But soccer is a great sport, and it's beloved worldwide. And yeah, it's whether you like it or not. Hopefully, if you're an American, you're rooting for America, right? You stand up and you cheer for our red, white, and blue. And I have so many listeners. Listen, Singapore loves the Fitzness show, as does Canada. So 3 cheers for you and your teams. I hope you have a lot of fun and a lot of success, just as long as your teams aren't successful against the American teams, right? Although the American men rarely do very well, but perhaps they'll pull one out because they'll be at home and I don't know, they'll have a little extra pride. So yay sports. And then while we're talking about sports, I have to go there. So I've recently been rewatching some of the Rocky movies. I had bronchitis last week, which put me down. I was pretty darn sick. And I watched a few of the Rocky movies and I've seen them all except recently I watched number 5. I had never seen that one before. But I would say the Rocky series in general gets 5 stars from me. I think it's awesome. I love it. I love the original. Of course, I love the one where he's fighting Drago, America versus Russia. That was a big deal. And anyways, they're all great. I think they're super fun. The thing that drives me freaking batty, and I don't know if most people know this. So I would say most everybody has watched a boxing match, but they call it the sweet science for a reason. It's a very technical sport. It's a very strategic sport. It's not just a slugfest. And I know this. I used to compete as a full contact kickboxer and quite often drop my kicks and just fight with my hands. But Rocky never, ever once in all the movies, and look, I'm so irritated by this. I know he's a fictional character, but freaking A, he has never put his hands up once. The way he just eats punches makes me mad. You know what I'm saying? It just drives me crazy. When I fought, the very first thing I learned was my fighting stance. And so I'm Orthodox, I'm right-handed, so my right foot was behind my left. And then I learned to put my hands up. Number 2 thing I learned was to take my hands, put them up, and put my chin down. That was it. As I fought for almost 10 years, my trainer must have shouted at me 7,400,036,922 times. Hands up, chin down. Hands up, chin down. Hands up, chin down. That was the motto, the mantra, and that's what protected me from having my nose broken. That's the thing that protected me from getting knocked clear out. Hands up, chin down. Rocky, he had some decent fight skills, but for the love of God, not once in all of the movies did he ever put his hands up or his chin down, and it made me kind of cranky. It just, boo, I get so mad, and I know the fights are incredibly choreographed, but they could have thrown the fight community a bone because it's punishing. It's punishing to see him that lack that particular skill set and go win. If I were in the ring and I was just letting some chick pummel my face, I had my chin out and I was like, come on. And I had my hands down by my hips, I would have been knocked out instantly or knocked down. I would have been destroyed. I would not look the way I look for sure. So anyhow, that's my rant. I have a little rant, a little venting to do. We're talking about sports. Rocky, love the movies, but for the love of God, if I could go AI, put his hands up at least once, oh, it would be so satisfying to me. So satisfying. But yeah, go back and watch those movies. They're really fun. Also, Rocky 5, where he just dukes it out in the alley, that was unexpected and very appreciated. Also, I think he looked pretty hot in his jeans. I dig a guy in some nice jeans. And so, yes, Sylvester Stallone, I think he's like 400 years old or something. I don't know, but he's still kind of sexy. And back when he filmed that movie, I dug. I dug the jeans. I want you to know that. A guy in hot jeans makes this girl kind of happy. And we will be right back. My brand new book, You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity, is out right now and has something for everybody. Ladies, chapter Full Throttle Femininity is dedicated to all the things you think you can't control, including menopause, weight loss, maintaining muscle mass, building bone density, and earning yourself a vajayjay of steel. Guys, chapter Man Mode was written just for you. You'll learn how to combat menopause, tune up your ticker, banish a beer belly for good, maximize your muscles, and earn the most powerful pecker on the planet. From the ground on up, from the inside and out, let's supercharge your body and mind and make you unstoppable. Order signed copies of You Supercharged at fitzness.com in the United States, Amazon, everywhere else. We're back. So moving on. We're going to go to your cues. That's your questions. And hopefully I have the A's/answers that satisfy your curiosity. So Yassine Gunai says, considering that there's less than 1% chance of completing a marathon, do you think the marathon runners should be invited to the White House or have like a parade in the city you finished in? I don't. I mean, no, because it's 1%, but 1% of what? How many people are there? Is it 5 billion people in the world, which makes 5 million of us marathoners? I'm probably butchering that math. Please send me a nasty letter if I got it wrong. But yeah, I don't think it is deserving. Now, perhaps it would be cool if our president invited the Boston Marathon champion or gold medalist in the Olympics, or maybe someone who broke the world marathon record. That would be interesting if it was an American. Clearly, we don't need to invite a British or a Kenyan or a Turkish champion over here, but there's certainly a place for running champions at the White House. But I don't think the generic finishing a marathon qualifies us all. Quality time with the most powerful person in the universe, because then he would have no time to do anything else, because every weekend, how many people are running a marathon for the first time? I would say 10,000, or maybe more. They just keep adding. So it's awesome that you think of that. And I certainly would love to be invited to the White House for any reason. And in fact, if the president called me today and said, hey, I heard you ran a marathon 4 years ago or 5 years ago, you'll want to come, I would say, yes, sir. On my way, sir. But yeah, I don't think just running a marathon alone. But that's a clever question, Yassine. I like it. I wonder what other folks think about that. Okay. Tom Zizak, he says, best healthy lunches for non-meat eaters. So I like that question, especially because I am a non-meat eater. I am a vegetarian. I'm a real vegetarian, not a pescatarian, not a vegan. I'm just vegetarian. So I don't eat anything that had a face or a heart. No beef, no pork, no lamb, no chicken, no fish, just vegetables. So I like this question. The plant-based eating habits, and I don't call it plant-based diet because I think the word diet is indicative of radical behavior. That's a bad idea. But yeah, eating a plant-based nutrition plan is brilliant. There's so many benefits to it. Yes, you can get all of the nutrients out of just plant-based nutrition. You probably have to be a little more tactical with protein and omega-3s and so forth, but I love plant-based eating, and my children eat chicken. I never allowed them to have the red meats because there's a direct link between red meat and digestive cancers, and God forbid any of my children were diagnosed with colon cancer or stomach cancer or anything. And while I was alive, I would feel guilty for doing that to them. And so note to you, maybe cut back on your red meats, but they only eat chicken. And both of them within the past month had mentioned to me independently that they think at some point in their life they will go plant-based, which makes me happy. And of course, health matters, but I simply love animals. It would make me sad. I couldn't eat a cow. You know what I'm saying? They're like big dogs. I think they're too cute. And then chickens, I have friends that are chickens and I can't eat them either. So I think my children have pretty sweet heart soft spots. So there's a good chance they'll become plant-based too. But nonetheless, this is about you, Tom, and your excellent question. So a plant-based lunch ideally would be overflowing with produce items. I mean, the most nutrition we're going to find is from the produce department, whether it's asparagus and strawberries and blueberries and kiwi and onions, you name it, different colors from the produce department is wonderful. In fact, I shop at Publix here in Florida where shopping is a pleasure. And quite often I buy a pre-packaged container of fruit. It's lazy. It would be more affordable if I just went and bought a packet of blueberries and tangerines and strawberries and peeled them all and put them in a container. But I just dropped the $6 and they give me a container. But as I was eating it this morning, I was looking at the different colors and it made me just very proud of myself. I was having orange tangerines and blue berries and strawberries. And then there were green apples, and all of those different fruits come with different nutrients, which I felt great about. And then for lunch, I had broccoli and carrots and cauliflower and tofu. Tofu's filling, lots of protein in there. In fact, you can get protein from tofu, from beans, from soy, from nuts, from seeds, from quinoa. And so an ideal plant-based lunch would include of multiple color produce items and then quality protein sources. And for me, that's going to be the beans, nuts, seeds, tofu, soy products, and what else? I mean, whatever else floats your boat. Whole grains, the really not just the fake brown stuff, brown rice that is white rice that was dyed brown. That's not what we're looking for. We're not just looking for brown bread. We're looking for grain products who have the word whole in front of the word grain. That means it's the entire grain and it's not refined. So, yes, any combination of your produce and a quality protein source and then a whole grain would make the perfect lunch, Tom. And I do it all the time. And sometimes I just have a potato. I stab some holes in it. I throw it in the microwave. Boom. That's what I have. And potato itself, I think, is a quality meal, but just keep it diverse and always look for something else. I have an executive client who she's hired me for 6 months and we talk on phone and we text and I'm keeping her on track and she's lost 23 pounds in the first few months. And some of her assignments, sometimes I just say, this week you have to eat one new fruit, one new vegetable. And of course she thinks, gee whiz, I'm in my 50s. I've eaten all the, no, you haven't. Go find something new. And she does. And if you can't find a produce item that you haven't, that is new to you, then take one you've already eaten and prepare it in a different way. So maybe you eat it raw or you grill it or you steam it or you roast it, whatever, just try it in a different way. And when you find things you love, it cooked in a different way, you're more likely to consume a variety of those products. So anyways, for example, I will take grilled onions all day. I will not eat raw onions. And so I could have just written onions off because I don't like them raw, but I do like them cooked. And so, be willing to try a variety of things. And once I was brought in by Sandals, the resort company, they brought me to Jamaica on a press tour to check out their resorts and be able to brag about their athletic opportunities and their healthy foods. And they had this chef, Walter Stabe, from City Tavern in Philadelphia, one of the oldest restaurants in America. And he's a German guy who immigrated to America. He's won all sorts of Emmy Awards, just a great chef. But I was the only vegetarian in our group. And so he was making all of these interesting things for others. And when he found out I was a veggie, he prepared unique things for me. But he brought over a bowl of something orange once. And I looked and I just thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to tell him I don't want to try this? It looked creepy. And then I thought, well, I mean, if it's just produce, how creepy can it be? I mean, normally I think creepy comes from, a hot dog where they say there's chicken feet in there and intestines and all these guts and things. There's nothing like that if you're eating vegetarian meals. So he made all sorts of wacky stuff and I gave it a try and I loved it. So yeah, be adventurous when it comes to plant-based foods because you really can't go wrong. And if you don't like it, so be it. You don't like it. All right, next question from Jason Rue. Hello, Jason. We love Jason. Love to brag about him. He's down, I think, almost 250 pounds. He's crushing it. He's training for his first half Ironman. So he says, if you were writing the perfect ab workout for the week, what would that look like? Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain the abdominal muscles to you. So they come in three parts. The first is the rectus abdominis, which goes from your rib cage straight down to your pelvis, your pubic bone. It's a north-south muscle. When this muscle is contracted, you fold forward. If you did not have this muscle, if it were not there, you would be flung backwards in a back bend. So this muscle contracts moving forward and extends towards a back bend. The way you work a muscle is by contracting it. And so we do basic crunches, basic sit-ups, anything that brings your rib cage closer to your pelvis works that rectus abdominis. And then we have your obliques, which make kind of a crisscross pattern across your torso. We work your obliques by contracting them. That would be bringing your right shoulder towards your left hip, your left shoulder towards your right hip, right? You bring them together. That's a twisting type of crunch or sit up. Anything in a twisting motion moving forward will work your obliques. And then we have the rectus abdominis. And the rectus abdominis goes east-west across your torso from one rib to the other, just across. And traditionally, the way we shorten muscles, you would have to break your pelvis and fold it in half to work your transverse abdominis. But instead, what we do is we pull that belly button in and we plank, right? So when you're doing a plank, that stationary position, when you're not allowing your hips to collapse towards the floor, that is your transverse abdominis doing the work. And so I want you to work your abdominals a third for the rectus, a third for your obliques, and a third for your transverse abdominis, right? So does that make sense? Your abdominals are three different parts. You should work them all equally and every other day. And so that's the rule of strength training. And for elite progress, we're going to work the same muscle every 48 hours aggressively. And we're going to give that 48 hours, those 48 hours worth of rest in between. So your body has time to send in the repair tricks. Remember, when you work a muscle aggressively, you're tearing tiny muscle fibers. We love that. That's what we want you to do. If you're a strong person who's swinging around 5-pound dumbbells, you're not tearing anything. If you're a strong person who's swinging around 17 or 50 or 100-pound dumbbells, because that's what you're capable of, when you start to grunt while you're training, that's when you tear the muscle fibers in a good way. And then over the next 48 hours, your body sends in the repair and the rest and repair troops. They come in and they fix those little tears, and those bonds make you stronger. They make the muscle a little bigger, a little firmer, more capable. And so the ideal abdominal workout would be per week would be a third on each abdominal muscle every other day. Now, to go a little further, mix it up. Variety is always the spice of life when it comes to fitness. The more diverse your training, the more your body has to do extra work to keep up with your demands. And so, yes, a basic crunch works that rectus abdominis. You lie on your back, you bend your knees, you put your hands behind your head, you crunch up and down and up and down. Fine. What if you put your low back on top of a Bosu? Bosu is that half dome squishy ball. It's flat on one side, it's a dome on the other. If you lie on the Bosu and then you go back for that crunch, you're arching. Now you're really extending that rectus abdominis. I assure you, if you don't normally do that and you do that workout tomorrow, you will feel it the day after or 2 days after. That will tax your rectus abdominis. If you hold on to a medicine ball and you're lying on the ground doing a basic crunch, but you take that medicine ball and you throw it up against the wall and you catch it and bring it back, that resistance, that added weight will tax your rectus abdominis. And so anything you can do to add variety, whether it's kettlebells or medicine balls or the Bosu or a stability ball or bands, anything you can do to add unique resistance or unique range of motion to your rectus abdominis, crunches and sit-ups, that's going to enhance your training. Same thing goes for obliques. Yes, you can lie on your back, bend your knee, put your hands behind your head and rotate right shoulder to the left knee. Boom, you could do that. You could also extend your right arm, extend your left leg straight. Bring that hand and toe together. Bring it back. Your limbs are weights, right? Each leg weighs approximately 30% of your body. In most cases, that's not for everybody. But let's say if you weigh 100 pounds, your limb probably weighs about 30. That's a heavy dumbbell, right? If you extend that leg lower to the ground and bring it up to meet your hand, you are weightlifting with that motion. If you put a 5-pound dumbbell in your hand and you go back to it hand to foot, you're adding more resistance. If you do it on a stability ball or a Bosu, you're adding range of motion. If you use one of the Nautilus style machines, they have oblique machines where you're rotating against resistance. Great. If you stand up and hold a band over your shoulder affixed to the wall and you pull from the right shoulder down across your body, it's training your obliques in a unique and different way. And next up is your transverse abdominis, and that is going to be your planks. And boy, can you mix up planks. Planks could be just stationary in push-up position, straight arms on your toes, holding right there. You could do it on your forearms. I actually find planks on your forearms to be more challenging for your abs than upright with extended arms. Why? Because when you go down on your forearms, you're fighting gravity a bit more. It makes your body flatter. You know, when you're in the top of a push-up position, you have a bit of an angle. So when you come down to forearms, it's putting more gravitational pull on those abdominals against gravity. So planks are great. You can do Spider-Man planks and planks where you lift one arm at a time and planks with bands around your legs. And if you go on my YouTube channel, there are so many plank videos. It's 2-minute plank, 3-minute plank, 4-minute plank. I jump up to 8-minute plank. There's side planks, which are great for your obliques. They're great for your glute medius. They're great for your low back as well, your erector spinae. And so a third of your training for the rectus abdominis, a third of your training for the obliques, a third of your training for the transverse abdominis. Train in a variety of ways. Always bring in different tools, different angles, different positions, and you are going to love the progress you make in your torso. You got that, Jason? Also, here's the other thing. When you're doing abdominal exercises, you also have to do erector spinae. Those are the muscles of your low back. They should be equally strong. The worst thing for your low back is for you to do abs, 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 and then never do low back. So Supermans and bridges are the number 1 and number 2 exercises. Anyone with the back, that means you, and everyone else listening, every other day you should be working your erector spinae. Low back pain is the number 1 complaint of active, healthy adults. So you can nip that in the bud, and you can remove yourself from that popular crowd by doing bridges and Supermans. If you don't know what the heck they are, go to my YouTube channel. It's Fitzness on YouTube. There's a bazillion plank, abdominal crunch videos, and then of course Supermans and bridges galore. and we will be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback Series by Fitz Koehler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's fitzness.com. Fitzness.com.
We're back. Okay, great question, Jason. And also his question, he said he was asking for a friend. No, you weren't, Jason. You were asking for you. And I love that question. All right, this is a complimentary question, which I thought would be perfect. And this is from Reddit, so I don't have a person's name attached. But it said, you've got lower belly fat that won't budge. I guess he's saying he or she has lower belly fat that won't budge. What are the top 3 things you'd change immediately? Well, number 1, if you're trying to get rid of fat anywhere in your body, whether it's your thighs or your arms or your tummy, it doesn't matter. It's about your eating habits. And so you have to burn more calories than you consume. Easiest way to do that is decrease the amount of calories you're consuming. The exact formula for weight loss. Again, the exact formula for weight loss. You should know exactly what that is. It's available for free on the cover of fitzness.com. There are 2 episodes of The Fitzness Show dedicated to the exact formula for weight loss. You can go back and listen to those, or you could get the damn book. You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. If you get this, you will learn how to eat the exact right amount of the right food for the size you will want to be, and you will lose fat overall. And so, number 1 is changing your eating habits and just cutting fat by cutting weight. That's number 1. Number 2, I would say certainly, or cutting back or removing alcohol. Most of the people I know with belly fat drink. Is that you? Am I talking to you? Do you have a beer or 4 every night? Do you have too many glasses of wine with your girlfriends? Or you just think it's okay to pop a whiskey sour like you're in the Mad Men TV show all the time? I don't know. Maybe that's you. If I'm talking to you and you look down and you see some squishy stuff around your torso, yeah, cut back on alcohol. So number 1, stick with the formula. Number 2, cut back or completely remove alcohol. And note this, if you were paying me a lot of money to be your executive trainer, that would be one of the first things we do. We would just cut out alcohol. So warning, that's part of the deal. And then number 3, I would say, go back to my previous question and train your abs like a beast. They're like any other muscle. You can't expect to have really strong, curvy biceps unless you're doing curls. You know what I'm saying? So if you want your abs to be strong, if you want them to look the part, and know this, lean, defined abdominals are indicative of an overall healthy lifestyle. So if you are kind of healthy and you kind of exercise, I would be shocked if you had ripped abs or a really flat torso. You know what I'm saying? You can have super curvy legs. I mean, golly, I was looking at the Sports Illustrated Miami swimsuit runway TV show. They had a fashion show TV show the other day, and they had a bunch of bigger girls, like not Kathy Ireland, not Cindy Crawford. You know what I'm saying? They had girls, women that were representative of all different body types. And that's women that, in my book, probably could have lost 85 pounds to get to a healthy weight, but their legs were beautiful, right? They had curvy, sexy legs with abdominals. They didn't have strong abdominals. And that's where I'm going. Like, you can have extra fat and still have pretty legs. But if you want strong abdominals, where most people consider, hey, you got a really healthy, fit waistline, you don't get to carry around extra fat. You don't get to be 85 pounds overweight and have a torso that looks like an athlete, right? And so when you shed weight overall and you improve your fitness overall, that's when we really start to see major improvements in our waistline, the definition and the firmness and the flatness too. And so, yeah, if you want to stop wearing Spanx, if you do that, or whatever brand, Skims, then abdominal exercises, the exact formula for weight loss, cut back on the amount of alcohol you drink. got men and women alike. It's the same formula for everybody. But yeah, you can do this. And it feels pretty freaking wonderful to really like your torso. Your waistline, that's one of those body parts that's kind of extra fun to feel good about. It's great to have great calves for certain, but to have a waistline, a torso you love, big deal. Front and back. I love a hard, sexy back. Holy smokes. I mean, just good, good stuff. Final question. Another Reddit one. How do you handle the identity shift when you've lost weight but still feel like your old self? So I dealt with that. I am 40 something pounds heavier than I was my freshman year in college. And I was pretty much a thicker girl for all of my teens and curvy, and I had some extra fat. I was a bigger girl. And when I did finally lose weight and get down to the size I wanted, it was confusing. You know what I'm saying? It was a little curious. I remember someone buying me jeans in my new size for Christmas one year. And I opened them up and I held them up in front of me and I thought, what in tarnation is this? This is absurd. These are children's jeans. I cannot fit in these things. And then later on, I tried them on and they fit. And I thought, oh, that makes no sense. And so you may not feel the part right away. Maybe you've made a dramatic change, even if it's happened over the course of 6 months or 12 months or 2 years. Your older self, if you were overweight or out of shape for a really long time, that image will haunt you for a long time. What I encourage you to do is roll with the facts. You know the number on the scale. Perhaps you know the width of your waistline, right? Men buy their jeans based on waistband, which is so funny that women don't. We're 4, 6, 12. What the hell is that? Guys say I'm 30 in the waist and 32 in the pants or whatever you are. I think it's fascinating that the genders do things so differently, but go with the facts. What the numbers are, what they are. And I eventually had to remind myself of that when I was shopping because I was focused on buying much bigger sizes and then I put them on and they looked ridiculous on me. And so, yeah, I mean, ideally, you're the same wonderful person inside, right? You are the same smart person. You're friendly. You care about your family. You work hard. Hopefully, you were all those things before. Maybe you're an enhanced version of that. Hopefully, your weight loss and your success in fitness hasn't made you any less of those things. So it doesn't mean you're a better person, but it does mean you're a healthier person. You're more likely to live longer, less likely to have a stroke, less likely to have type 2 diabetes, less likely to come down with certain cancers. I mean, there's so much to be proud of. I hope as a fitter person, you are incredibly proud. But yeah, when you question the reality of your success and you just can't wrap your head around it, go to the stats. And I think you should check stats. You shouldn't be obsessed with the scale. It's very funny how many people say, well, I'm not going to check my weight. I don't want to be obsessed. Okay, weirdo. If weight was your problem before, and then you figured out a way to lose weight, clearly weight is an issue. And you shouldn't be obsessed with the scale. That's moronic. It's like being obsessed with a thermometer. That makes no sense. Or obsessed with a tape measure. Also makes no sense. Once a week, you get on the scale. It tells you if you're making progress in the right direction. And then once you get to your final destination, a weight that you're satisfied, you get on every week just to check to make sure you're there. If you do that, you'll never gain 5 pounds. My rule of thumb is I have a 2-pound wiggle room. If I gain 2 pounds, I quickly lose 2 pounds. That's it. I never have to worry about gaining 4, 7, 12, 20, 30 pounds. It boggles my mind how many people lose a ton of weight and then they gain it all back. Oh, I gained 30 pounds. I don't know what happened. No, I know what happened. You weren't getting on the scale. You weren't being honest with yourself. You weren't being hard on yourself. You weren't being demanding of yourself. You weren't holding your own feet to the fire. If you get on the scale once a week, you will never lose control unless you just don't care. If you really do care, you will see those numbers, that factual evidence, and then ideally you will make decisions and take action based off that information. And so you check in on the scale once a week, or, you do the measurement thing once a month. Why not? Why not? And know that my numbers might be different than yours, and it doesn't mean better or worse. It's just you're choosing the numbers that are right for you. And the numbers do count, and they will help you manage yourself when you achieve new heights in fitness. Those stats are real. It's like running. It's like qualifying for the Boston Marathon, right? You would never do that if you weren't counting how or tracking how long it takes for you to run a certain distance and working to get faster and faster and faster. In order to qualify for Boston, you have to hit a certain target and then get better. The same thing goes for weight management. You have to hit a target. It's a target you've set for yourself, your own qualifying weight, but you have to do it. And so, yeah, when your mind is playing tricks on you, the numbers, right? Just the facts, ma'am. The facts, ma'am. All right, that's it for Q&A. Listen, if y'all have questions for me, you should send them. Send them to fitzness.com. There's a contact button. You can submit them on Instagram, on Facebook. I regularly put out a call. Hey, ask me some questions. And you can ask any kind of questions. You could ask my favorite color or whatever. You can ask some quality fitness question, which actually is ideal, but whatever. I'm happy to share my favorite color if you really need to know. Before I go, I have to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, the week before I was in Fargo, I was in Washington, D.C. area for MUDGIRL, and it poured raining the entire day on Saturday. And it's one of those things where we watch the weather app and I watch because I need to know how to pack. What kind of clothes am I going to bring? I got the Frog Togs rain suit, pants and a jacket. And fortunately they were wonderful. They really protected my arms and torso and legs from rain. My feet, not so fortunate. But it was probably my favorite MUDGIRL day out of all the MUDGIRLs I've announced over the past few years. The rain came and our athletes were absolutely energized. It was such a fun day. And I think we had close to 10,000 athletes on Saturday. And they just kept pouring up to the finish line. I'm sorry, the start line. That's where I am all day. I'm at the start line. And I just send off waves of 150 women at a time. And then the next wave come and the next wave. And we laughed and danced. And it was awesome. So if you ever are going to run a race or do an obstacle course, whether it's a road race or obstacles, go. Don't stay home. Anyone who bailed because it was raining that day really missed the bus. I mean, the energy was electric. Oh, we just had such a delightful time. And then if it's an obstacle course race, know that the water enhances the course because it was extra sloppy. And, race organizations have to pay a fortune to funnel in water to create mud pits. And so when Mother Earth just does it for you, it was so good. Also, we had this woman come out. I was given a little birdie told me from the side, but one of the things I do with MUDGIRL, it's constant motion. We're warming up, and I do that by inviting, or I say inviting. I'm normally just grabbing someone. I bring them on my stage and I tell them, "You're our dance leader, dance monkey, dance," and everybody else will follow you. And they're so cute. Sometimes they say, "Oh, I can't." And I say, "No, you can. Pretend you're at a party or a wedding, and just there's no wrong way to do this." And then they loosen up and they have a good time, and everyone follows them. It's wonderful. And then we chit chat a lot too. I do a lot of chit chat with the people, but one of the athletes I heard was 82. And so I said, I hear that we have a special person in the crowd. I look to my right. I see this woman who's definitely 82. And I invite her over. I help her up on the stage. I said, "What's your name?" She said, "Cecilia." I said, "Tell me what's special about you." She said, "Well, I'm 82. And she was there with her daughter, her granddaughter, and her great-granddaughter. And I think there was maybe a grandson involved. And Cecilia was our dance leader in the rain, and she killed it. It was so great. It was so, so good. So I just loved it. And if you're listening, if you were there, thanks for being so fun. Also, at some point, we were all dancing, and we do a group dance battle. I look up, and I'm in the microphone, and I say, "Is that hail?" Everyone said, "Yeah, we had hail." It was wimpy hail. I know sometimes hail comes down like golf balls or worse. It wasn't that. It was fluffy hail, if that's such a thing, but it's just a great day. So high five to Mother Nature for making it storm because DC was excellent. In fact, this weekend, I will be in Connecticut over by the University of Connecticut Stadium, UConn. Next week, I will fly into Philly, work in South Jersey. And then the next week, I'll be in Flint, Michigan. So if you're in any of these places, please come and run MUDGIRL. Yes, we accept mud men. Guys can run. We don't market to men, and it's a women's theme event, but we certainly can't discriminate and exclude anybody. So everybody's welcome. And we do have plenty of guys run. And if you're not going to run, you can come just you could volunteer or you can just visit. You can just come and say hi. But I'd love to see you. In July, I will be in the Poconos, which will be a huge event. And then after that, I go to Minneapolis and Utah in August. So please come visit me. More and more, wherever I go, I have friends. In Connecticut, I will be with Babs. In the New Jersey weekend, I will be with Vince Ferrello, Mr. Man who got me to run the Boston Marathon. In fact, we're supposed to have lunch. He doesn't know this, but I'm going to have him remove my Boston Marathon bracelet, which I've been wearing for 5-6 years. And then after that, Michigan, which I better see some of you because I know I have so many friends in the Detroit area. So let's see. Our communication tip of the show. Oh, you got to do this. I'm working with my interns right now. But if you use the word like without describing affection, if you say, I'm like going to run a 5K like, and I'm going to wear like a running shirt like, and running shoes like, and I'm going to go there at noon like, like, love, stop it. Stop it. Nobody wants to hear that. The use of the word like for no apparent reason at all, just out of bad habit, makes us all look stupid. So please work aggressively to remove that word from your vocabulary. Again, unless you're saying, I like chocolate covered Cheetos. If you're expressing affection for something, it's fine. If you're using it as a filler garbage word, you got to get rid of that. And the way you do it is you sit down with a partner and you time each other for 60 seconds. Talk about something you know inherently well, such as your favorite vacation or your best friend or your pet. You're just going to talk for 60 seconds thoughtfully without using the word like. And if you use it, your friend, their job is to buzz you. They can just use their mouth. They can go, ah. And that's what I do to my intern. But I make them slow down and think. And when they start thinking about their words, they sound so much more intelligent. They make so much more sense. So please use this drill and remove those garbage words. You can also remove the you knows and ums and ahs in the same exact way. That's communication tip of the show. And our song of the show, man, you're going to get it. Here it comes. So Tim Patton. I love Tim Patton. Tim Patton, one of my hotties. He's a retired police sergeant from Cleveland, and he PRs whenever he runs my races, and I adore Tim. And so Tim used to want to get a Jeep Wrangler like I have, and he would talk about, he was fantasizing about driving around with the roof off, playing music, which I do a lot. And we talk about music a lot. And so, but instead of getting a Jeep Wrangler, he got a Ford Bronco, which is super cool. Beautiful Bronco, also big square, modern fun. But he sends me a song today. I can't play it for you right now because I'm sure there's some sort of copyright infringement and then my podcast will get yelled at or something. But I need you to listen to this song. He told me that I should play blasting out of my Wrangler. It's called The Happy Organ by Dave Baby Cortez. That's right. The Happy Organ by Dave Baby Cortez. Now, Tim, I am 100% positive is listening to this right now, just dying. But it's such a dorky song. It's such a dorky song. Oh, and he had said with that, he sent me the link and he said, top down, volume up. And you can only understand if you look it up. So again, The Happy Organ by Dave Baby Cortez. Listen to that song. He tells me to blare it from my Wrangler. And I respond, I said, Tim, you have to be at least 123 years old to like the song you just sent me. I have to take you through cool guy camp. And then he says, I know I'm old, but young at heart, and I'm proud to be a dork. No. I said, you're such a dork. So my song I told him to listen to instead was Nookie by Limp Bizkit. That's the type of song you blast the top down. Am I wrong? I think I'm totally right, but not The Happy Organ. Tim, come on. And Tim has a pretty girlfriend. Tim, don't let your girlfriend know you're blasting that music or she might break up with you. If I had a boyfriend who was blasting The Happy Organ from a cool car like a Bronco, I might have to send him packing. So, Tim, this is a favor to you from all of us in the Fitzness community. No, you cannot do that. But everyone has to understand the magnitude of the dorkiness of this song. So please go listen to that. The real song of the week is Nookie by Limp Bizkit, because that is just inherently way cooler and more fun and raucous. Thank you for your questions. Enjoy the NBA finals, the NHL finals, the World Cup soccer championships. Listen, even if you don't like soccer, watch soccer. Oh, and I have to point out, Frode Tilden from Fargo, he's over the moon that Norway is in the World Cup finals, and they're doing that crazy rowing cheer where they all act like they're rowing their Viking ship. The Norwegians are out of control in the best way possible, and their World Cup soccer team photo, smoking hot. It's the whole team dressed like Vikings sitting seaside, and it makes me want to go do Viking stuff. So, we go Team USA, and as a backup plan, Heia Norge. All right, I love you all. Get to work. Bye, team. Mwah!
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to give the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Koehler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.